Flow. This is a mommy and me yoga class, really specific to the mother, and specifically I am 5 months postpartum. Flora is 5 months old today. So this flow is really all about just honoring the breath, moving the body very slowly, and just having a moment to connect with not only myself, but with my baby. This entire class is just going to be poses that we're going to do down on the mat, not any standing poses. This flow I love in the morning when I wake up. It just gets my body moving, it gets me connected to my breath, and it's a good moment, like I said, to connect with my daughter. So to get started, all you need is a mat or some comfortable surface to do yoga on. I'm gonna grab my blocks, and then I have a soft blanket at the top of my mat, and when I lay her down to get started, I can either lay her in the left or right corner, and then I just have a toy for her, or I also have her mobile, so if I need that as we go. But most often what I find is that she enjoys when I'm practicing because she thinks it's funny and she laughs and agrees with me. So usually I don't need those, but I always have them in case. I would also always recommend when doing yoga with a baby that you make sure that they are fed and they are rested. I usually get in about 15 to 20 minutes with her before she's ready to move on. So keep in mind that if your baby is signaling to you that they're done and they don't want to do this anymore, you can press pause. That's why YouTube is great. You can take a break and you can always come back to it later. Never let yourself get frustrated because it's not easy to do this. Some days it is and some days it isn't. So just be flexible with that and remember that anytime you're connecting with your breath, with your body, and with your baby, it's a good day. So we're gonna get started just sitting crisscross, relaxing your shoulders, taking a big exhale. So a short breath in and a really long breath out. Again, really sigh it out. Feel the breath moving through the throat. Placing your right hand down on the mat. As you inhale, take the left hand. Inhale, reaching it up over the head. And exhale, dropping your arm back down. Switching sides, so the right hand inhale. And exhale. I'm going to continue this on both sides a couple times to connect my breath with my body. Gazing up at that hand that is lifted. One more time on each side. Just wiggling it out, moving the shoulders forward and back, rolling the neck one way and then the other. So we're going to begin coming into tabletop pose. So this is where you want to place your baby under you, but not directly under your chest, just a little bit above. So I'm going to center her on my mat, and I'm going to place my hands right about where her hips are. My knees are under my hips, my wrists are under my shoulders, and we're going to move here through some cat-cow. As you inhale, lifting your head, relaxing your belly. As you exhale, drop the head, arch this back, pull the shoulders away from the ears. Coming back to a flat back, we're going to get started by taking the left leg, extending it back, taking a full breath in. And as you exhale, bring that foot right up underneath your shoulder, lifting the body, just placing the hands gently on the knee here, making sure the knee is right above the ankle. Let your eyes close and just take 3 breaths here. Now take the right hand, drop it down. And as you inhale, lift the left hand and the gaze follows the fingers. Full breath in. Exhale, look down and smile at your baby. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath in. And exhale, bringing the hand down. We are going to lift the back leg and come into a standing separate leg, head to knee. So here I'm not going to drop my upper body down, but I'm going to keep it lifted by placing the hands for support without dumping into them. They're just there for some support. Breathing in. And with the exhale, if you can, if it feels good for you, let your chest lower. One more breath. On the exhale, plant the palms, stepping back into a tabletop. We're going to come into the tabletop first. To ground here and take a breath. And then we're going to come into a downward dog. So in your downward dog, you want to make sure that you're not over top of your baby. You want to be able to see them if you look forward. And if you were to let your head go, it would just be at their feet. So always double check that first. I'm going to pedal out the legs, bending one and then the other. And return to tabletop. Let's move through one cat-cow. So as you inhale, the right leg goes back. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, coming up. Finding your balance here, and let's take 3 breaths here. Placing the hands down, lifting the back leg, stepping forward, separate leg, head to knee. Again, I'm going to keep the chest lifted, and with each exhale, surrender just a little bit more, not going past what feels good for me. Last breath. Now I'm going to step the back foot forward, wiggle out both my legs so I can get them into a good spot where I'm not over top of my baby, but more centered in the mat to come into a yogi squat here. So options for this, I'm definitely going to grab my blocks and create a little seat. And as I sit down into my yogi squat, I'm going to align myself so my toes are facing forward. My palms come to center. And I'm using my elbows to create space here in my hips to open my knees out. Here is an option to pick up your baby. I would only recommend this if you are on blocks though, because I have a lot of stability here. You can hold them in as you feel your breath sink. And then I'm going to place her back down. Lifting the shoulders. Inhale, arms come up. Interlace the fingers, reverse them so that your palms are facing up. And then pulling the shoulders, pulling the hands back behind the head to get a real deep shoulder stretch here. And release. To come out of this, I'm going to bring myself over to the side, release the blocks, and I'm going to come back down into a seat. So here's an option where you can do a little bit of baby yoga. So we know it's great for babies to get some hip stretches in, gently, not forcing anything, just, you know, moving them like they already do. She at 5 months is just starting to do happy baby pose where she's pulling her feet in and playing with her feet. So that type of movement where her legs are going inward, you know, we do that for a lot of different things as their babies. So that's definitely beneficial for their little bodies. So we can do some of those. So as you're doing this, never force it. I just like to stay connected with my baby, connected with my breath as we're doing it. Just pulling them in. You can move her a little bit, your baby a little bit side to side. And then supine spinal twist is one of my favorite poses. So we would take the baby's knee, bring it in. I don't know if she's gonna cooperate with this. And then we just gently pull it over to the side so they get a little bit of a twist here. You're gonna roll. And we can switch sides. She gives herself all the stretches all day long, so she's pretty, babies are pretty good at doing yoga all the time. And then something else I like to do with her, just to help her with her neck control, is to lift her upper body with support. Ready, Flora? Okay. Yeah. Look around. What do you see? Just taking some breaths here with your baby. As women, we tend to hold our emotions in our hips. So it's always a good place, especially in these postpartum months, to really focus on everything we went through with being pregnant, with labor, and postpartum. We have a lot there stored in our hips. So always good to get that, to focus our attention there in our yoga practice. So I'm going to come into pigeon a little bit differently than I do in a different yoga class. Starting in tabletop, I'm going to take my left leg and I'm just going to bring it forward, sending my other leg back. So options here, if this feels good, you can stay here. You can put a block underneath that left hip. You can also lower your upper body down, staying up on the elbows. And we're going to switch sides. Two more breaths. And to come out, we're just going to swing the back leg to the front and we're going to come into butterfly here. So bottoms of my feet put together. If this feels good, you can stay like this. You also have the option to place blocks underneath the knees for a little support. We're going to pull the shoulders back, work on lengthening the spine, straightening, strengthening the spine. Taking some time to focus on our posture here, because we know that with the constant, especially in the newborn phase, picking up our babies, bending over. If you're reaching into a crib, lots and lots of poor posture moments and back pain, at least for me. So really focusing and being intentional with my posture in my yoga practice. 2 more breaths. And remove the blocks. So now we're going to move into a short modification of a vinyasa flow. So we're going to get started by placing our hands, again, not over top of your baby, but more towards their lower body. And we're going to come into our downward dog. Inhale, lifting your hips, checking to make sure that you're in a good position, and then bending your knees, sending your chest through the arms. Take a breath in and out. Inhale, step your left foot forward, dropping your back knee. Inhale, left hand comes up. And we're gonna add some movement here with our hand. She always loves watching this. Using your breath, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more. And exhale. Now we are going to walk that foot over to really create a lot of space here inside. So I'm going to let my right hip drop down, really feeling that stretch in the right hip. Maybe let this leg come out a little bit. And bring it back in. Bringing your left hand to the outside of the foot, lifting the back leg and stepping forward into a forward fold here. So in this forward fold, I'm going to keep my legs really bent because that's what feels good for me. And I'm also going to separate my legs longer or farther away than hip distance, so I have a lot of space there in between for my chest and my upper body to fall. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Placing your hands down and stepping back to downward dog. Taking 2 breaths here. And switching sides. Right leg steps forward, back knee drops. We're going to create that movement with our breath with our hand in. So inhale, arm rises. Swing it down on the exhale. Inhale. One more. Bringing my hand down and walking that right foot out really wide and lowering the left hip down. Just take a couple of breaths here. You can open your chest to the right if that feels good, just by placing your hand on the knee. And exhale, coming back, walking that foot back in, and we're going to lift the back knee and step forward again into another forward fold. Inhale to a flat back, exhale, forward fold. So the goal here is never to make your forward fold or your downward dog or any of the other poses look like they did before you had baby. It's to focus on how it feels. So these poses are to make your body feel like you are getting that stretch, like you are releasing all that tension, all the energy that's stuck built up in your legs. Really being patient and gentle and kind to yourself. You can use blocks here too to help create that length in the back. Forward. Sorry, inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. Even on my exhales when I'm releasing, I'm not dropping my head down. One more. Coming into another yogi squat. I'm going to try it without my blocks this time, but without my blocks, just making sure that I'm supported and stable, and then also not directly over top of her. And because I'm not using blocks, it's going to be a little bit harder for me to get into the same alignment that I had before. So for me, it doesn't feel good to have both my feet down, but rather to add a little bit of movement here. So that's an option. You can just create the seat with the blocks, or you can kind of do this little rotation where I'm shifting my weight into my right leg and into my left. A little rocking, bring your hands to the heart, and always staying connected with your breath. So we are going to shift. I'm going to move her towards the center, just so I have a little bit more room lengthwise on my mat. We're just going to add in a few little side stretches here. So I'm keeping, you can keep your right leg in and your left leg extended out. Like your foot is up against a wall, sometimes to help with that, I put a block. This is maybe blocking it. I put a block right under my foot just to help me be intentional and mindful of that foot being flat and the toes being pointed upwards. So the foot being flexed. Just connecting with my breath here. This sometimes feels like enough, but I'm going to show you another option, more options here for getting in a real good stretch here. But I'm going to add in some arm movements here, kind of like we did earlier with the rainbow arms. Inhale, lift this is the left arm up, and exhale. As you exhale, that left hand reaches for the foot. You can bend the knee to get your hand to the foot. I'm focusing on keeping, rolling over. I'm focusing on keeping my chest open here. And not. 2 more breaths here. With each exhale, I always try to surrender just a little bit more into the pose, a little bit deeper. 1 more breath. And coming up. So we're going to switch it up. My right leg goes out, left leg comes in. And get myself centered here. And then my left arm comes up. And coming back up. So here I'm going to remove the block, place it on the opposite foot, and reach for those toes. Again, letting my chest open here by dropping my left hand behind, just placing it right on my lower spine and gazing up over the left shoulder. One more breath. All right, so now I'm going to extend both of my legs out in a little V-sit here. So here, again, with the foot being flexed and just really letting yourself feel this here, placing feelings on the inside of your thighs. So placing your hands behind the back, open the chest, lift the chin, breath in. So now we are going to do one final pose and then we'll get wrapping it up. So I'm going to keep my left leg extended here and I'm going to cross my right leg over. So my ankle comes right over the knee here. Arms come up and twisting over to the left. So here, feeling a really good stretch in my shoulder. Just find what feels good for you. So if it's moving your head back, looking straight ahead, looking down, whatever feels good for you. Any way you have to move your body to release any tension is a choice that you can make for yourself. Because everybody's different. Every day we feel different. We hold on to different things and release. And we're gonna switch. So I'm gonna stay in this position because she's right there. Always being flexible with that. Doesn't have to look a certain way. So I'm gonna take my opposite foot, cross it over, arms come up, and twist. Two more breaths. And release. So to end this pose, to wrap it out, there are different options for you. You can do a Shavasana. She's already laying here, very content, so I'm just gonna go ahead and slide her up towards my head and I'm just gonna lay down and have a little Shavasana with her. You can place your baby on top of you, or as always, you can do a seat and holding your baby like so. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you continue to come back for Mommy and Me classes. Lots of prenatal and postnatal classes to come with and without your baby. Once I became pregnant, and then especially after becoming a mom, I found how important it was for me to still take this time for myself, even though it can seem impossible some days. But it is doable, and I'm really passionate now about sharing that with other women and other moms to know that it's not something that has to take a long amount of time, and it's something that you can do with your baby right there.